An entrepreneur can have a brilliant idea that solves a real problem, but are they prepared to bring that idea to market? Well, our guest is the CEO of an incubator that helps newly minted founders get the business acumen, resources, and connections they need to succeed. Hey, it's Fab Female Founder Friday on the Startup Life Live Show. Let's glow, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Startup Life Live Show. I'm your host, Ande, Lyons, 4 times founder and startup champion to founders around the world. And after raising 4 businesses of my own, I now share founders' startup stories to help newly minted business owners find the solutions and inspiration they need to succeed. And I'm thanking you right now for carving out the time to tune in and up your founder game. I promise you, you are going to find a nugget, a resource, an aha moment, or a shot of inspiration that's going to lift you up and help you soar to the next level with your business. And if you're joining us live or via replay, be sure to say hello and heck, go ahead and amplify your business. Throw in the name of your business, a one-liner, and the URL, and I'll bring it up on the screen. And our guest and I will just celebrate you and champion you and congratulate you for all that you are doing. Also, please click the like button wherever you are watching right now. We are live at this point in time on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch. And when you hit that like button, either live or during replay, it goes out into your feed, and you never know what that ripple effect will have on another founder's journey. Maybe even someone you don't know, maybe someone who's thinking about it will tune in and get the inspiration they need to succeed. So thank you so much. And if you're tuning in from from YouTube and you haven't done so already, please click the subscribe button. I'd be so grateful. I'm trying to get up to that 1,000 subscribers, and then the algorithms will help me reach more founders and help more founders around the world. So I appreciate your adding wind to my sails. And hey, if you got a minute and want to always get an alert whenever I post a new show, so you can check out some founders that might be in your industry or someone you just might want to hear their great startup story, please join the Startup Life Live meetup group. Just click on that bit.ly link, scan the QR code. The links will be in the show notes. And by joining this group, you'll get an alert whenever I post a new show, whenever I go live. I'll just make it easy breezy for you to show up. Anyway, that's easy for you. Okay, let's get into the introduction of our amazing guest, the one and only Ivy Syovata. She is a queen. I'm just going to put it out there right now. Before I get going, let me bring up a little artwork here. Ivy's an ecosystem builder and a serial entrepreneur who is passionate about entrepreneurship, especially the development of entrepreneurship and innovation ecosystems in Africa. Ivy is the CEO of the Incubator Nest Hub based out of Nairobi, Kenya. And this outstanding organization supports companies by helping them survive and scale during the startup period. Oh my gosh, we are going to learn so much from this wonderful fab female founder. Let me bring her into the room and we'll start celebrating her. Hey, Ivy Syovata.
Awesome. Thank you, Ande.
Oh my gosh. I am so happy to have you on the show. Of course, I'm just a huge fan, and I know I'm holding hands with a bunch of your other huge fans, devoted fans from around the world, but also in your home country. And I know it's 8 p.m. on a Friday night. I mean, come on. Thank you for being willing to join me. I don't even know if I have 2 words left to say on a Friday night at 8 p.m.
Thank you so much. I mean, I'm so excited being here today. I mean, I've been watching you for such a long time. I have so many people talking good things about you all the way from Kenya. Hi, everyone.
It's so much fun. And I'm just so happy to also share your your wonderful, extraordinary energy and your beautiful stories and just your presence. I mean, seriously, it is the gift of your presence to have you here. And we're so lucky. Before you and I dive into our delicious conversation, because folks, we are going to get into all the good things that Ivy's business organization does for founders. But before we do that, Ivy, would you just, share a little personal information with us right now, something that's going on in your life and what you're feeling especially grateful for right now?
I love that question. So I'm so grateful for, being able to just be me. I was born such a shy girl, and up to today, I'm even shocked that I run a company. So I've gone through everything. I've gone through a point where I couldn't even come in front of a camera, and here I am here. So I'm so grateful for boldness. I'm always saying, be bold as a lion. So I'm very, very grateful for being bold as a lion.
I love that. That bold word is just, and remember, mighty forces will come to your aid when you are bold. It's a wonderful quote that's out there. And Ivy, I love to tell people, don't be caged by your age. You're never too young and you're never too old to be bold.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely. I mean, I was caged for so long. I mean, the way you're born from somewhere and you're thinking that I can't be this and I can't be that. And here I am running a company. It's working. I am bold. I am out there. I'm talking online and I'm thinking, this is me. It was not me like 5 years back. So it's exciting.
Oh, that is so exciting. And you know what? We all have limiting beliefs, right? And that's, I think, the beauty of the entrepreneur journey is that you're forced to dissolve those limiting beliefs. You're forced to dissolve obstacles and find solutions and really dive into the depth of your richness and tap into what will fulfill you. So I congratulate you for overcoming your shyness, for holding your shyness's hand and saying, thank you for sharing. And we're going to be bold anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, that's so great. So I'm excited to dive into everything that you're doing over in Nairobi and in Africa for founders, because we know that there are pockets of entrepreneurship around the world that just do not get served. They have an incredible idea. They have the capability and the ability, but they just don't have the resources or support, etc. But before we dive into the Incubator Nest Hub, let's chat a little bit about your founder journey, because at some point you decided to be bold.
Something got into my eye.
Okay.
The excitement.
Oh, trust me, I've had it's live. Okay, folks. It's just things will happen. I had an earring pop off one time. It was so funny. It just went flying. And there was no way I was going to find it. But Ivy, what called to you and compelled you so strongly that you were willing to leave what I call working for someone else, where you're on and hopefully on benefits and payroll, but to go out on your own and try entrepreneurship? What were you a kid? Were you when you were a young child out there hustling and sharing ideas or moving product, or do you have parents or extended family who are founders? Like, what inspired you?
So, I mean, ever since I was a young girl, my mother always owned a business. So she had this shop outside our house that sold just normal things, soaps. We call them kiosks here, and so she was selling all these things. And I always was curious because every time we close school, I will always sit outside there and just sell for her. And so I was intrigued. How come she's not keeping records well? And so I'll help her do records and everything. So after her shop, she actually opened a clothes business in the Nairobi city. And so I used to go there every holiday when I closed school from secondary school. That's high school. I'll go there and sit there and sell for people, sell everything, arrange things. And I'll get there very early, and I was always helping her. So she will always leave me in the business. So she started another business and I'm always part of the business. So every time she started a business, I was part of it. And so I realized I totally enjoyed business. I totally enjoyed just helping her put things together, arranging records. I mean, she was she's never gone to a business school. She never went to college. So she was just doing out of it, And so I wanted to help her because I was in school, I'd gone to campus. And so I just wanted to help her to put things together. And so I was always interested in telling her, when you get the stock, let's record it. And so she'll tell me, record everything. I'll record. Every time she sells, she'll tell me, arrange things. What did we sell? How much did you sell? What do we need to bank? What do we need to put? And I'll do all those things. Then in high school, I met a class teacher who taught us business course. And I
Ivy's frozen just a little, but I bet she'll come back. Come on back, Ivy. I'm going to just do a quick shout out to Jeanette from the Bow Hub. You're a mom of 5 kids. And I got to tell you, this is really great for you and your children because now you know that listening to Ivy's story, and any parent out there, any parentpreneur out there, your children are going to learn so much from your experience. Okay, Ivy, you're back.
Yeah, and I have 2 internets, so I'm wondering what's happening. But Friday is usually a busy day for so many people. But I have backup, don't worry.
Well, I don't know if you heard me, but I took a moment to do a shout out to Jeanette Abai because she is a mom of 5 kids. And, as a parent, you're there hustling. You've got to make the money. You've got a family to support. And you have your own personal calling. You always wonder how badly are the kids going to suffer from this experience. But you really gained some great knowledge from it and inspiration from your mom.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it was so interesting. And also my teacher in high school really, really taught us, a lot of business. And that was my best class. Yes. When I went to campus and I was doing business administration and management and entrepreneurship, I mean, my entrepreneurship class was the best because they gave us a project and we were meant to go to a company, analyze the company, come up with ideas, new ideas. And I just came alive. And so for me, I knew this was the route. This was the way for me. And so over time, even after I finished, I mean, here it's simple. You find a job, you start working. I found a job, but I never was fulfilled. Every time I got a job, I wanted to do something more. I'll either volunteer to work with business people, even if it's free in churches, and just train them. So I was always doing business here and there to just get there. So it was something that have grown with and have come to love as much as possible.
Ah, I love that, something fierce. And to recognize that and not hold yourself back, to see that it lit you up and not being caught up in what it had to look like. Just bring it on. Let me try this. Let me try that. Let me be bold here. Let me be bold there. So tell us a little bit more about your lived experience to get you to this point. And then we'll dive into the Incubator Nest Hub. Tell us a little bit about what worked, what didn't work, what you learned, what you wish you had done differently.
Oh, that's such a fantastic question. So my first business, I was working in a bank, getting very good money. I started a business on the side, and it was a sales outsourcing company. So what I did is, started a business, went and rented a very fine office, furbished it, got good kind of cards, those nice cards, published, everything. The furniture was top notch, and I started looking for the clients. Hey, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. I had like 1 client and I couldn't pay my bills. And so somehow I had to wrap up the business. And interesting enough, I didn't wrap up. Actually, I had to close it because I was in so much debt.
Raise your hand. Who's been there before? There we go.
So much debt. So I had to close it and had to let go of people. And some of them were so mad at me. But I'm thinking, I had to close it. So I realized the first mistake I did was just not bootstrapping. I started with just a big vision. I was in corporate, so I wanted to transfer the corporate life to my business life.
Yeah.
Big mistake I did. Huge mistake I did. I had the passion for the business. I understood the business. But hey, I just invested on things that were not
Right.
the core of my business.
Right.
So that was the first mistake. So that business wrapped up in a year and a half, and it went. So after that, I started looking for a job.
But let's just absorb what you just had in that wonderful initial founder journey.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we've all been there. You wanted, to invest in the things that didn't bring on customers. Okay. You wanted to invest in like a playtime almost, set up the office and
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah.
But the beauty of that experience for you was you start to lay the foundation for your deep appreciation for someone having a great idea, but not being able to implement it, and the frustration that comes from it. All right. So what happened next?
So anyway, I went back to the job market. I looked for a job. For 8 years, I worked. So, and for those 8 years, I was never fulfilled. So I was changing jobs, one job after another, and wondering what really is what is it I'm looking for, But again, I took up a side job for training entrepreneurs through a company that is a very big company here. And so I used to work for them on weekends. So weekends, I'll go and teach people on entrepreneurship. And that will be my best time of the week. Weekends, Saturday, Sunday was the best of my time. So I realized, you know what, I had to make a plan. So I started making a plan on how I need to exit. Now, interesting enough, my exit plan was in 2020, March 2020, right in the middle of COVID. So I went all the way to Egypt. There was a meeting for women entrepreneurs. And I sat in every meeting and I kept on thinking, all these women are in entrepreneurship and they are doing it and it's working. So what am I doing?
Right.
Why am I just sitting back and just fearing and fearing, thinking that I will fail again? I won't fail. I have learned my lesson. I can do this and I'm passionate about this. So I did a talk there and I said, you know what? And I was talking about being bold to do business. And that time I had no business. And so when I landed in Kenya, I was so sure I needed to get myself into business. March 2020, Incubator Nest Hub was founded. And by July, I'd already quit my job and I began now working into now getting into my business. So that is how my journey came in. And it was right in the middle when there was a lot of commotion in the world. We were under lockdown. No one knew what was going on. But guess what? That was my best time for me to launch.
Because?
Yeah, because there was opportunity. There was a lot of people that were really interested to know what really do they do. Right. Many people lost their job at that point. So I was the point of contact. I said, you know what? Hey, I am here. I have knowledge of how to start a business. Let's do this thing. So I trained the most people between March and actually August of 2020. That's when I had the highest numbers. I still haven't gotten the same numbers up to now because people were so curious and people were all looking at. And even the clients I have up to now, some of them actually came from, in 2020 because they wanted to transition. They wanted to begin businesses. They wanted someone to work with them and handhold them. And so they became my pilot clients, and I started from the house. And I'd already decided, even without COVID, that I was going to start online, whether it was popular or not, because I had failed. I was not going to open a business and open a whole office and hire people. No, I was going to be everything. I was going to be the accountant. I was going to be the trainer. I was going to be everything, the report person, everything. I was going to do end to end. And so it was such a wonderful journey. I got in there and I was amazed at how everything was simple. I was doing what I loved and I enjoyed doing it. And so it's been moving and moving. Of course, there are hard times, but I resorted not giving up because I keep on growing each and every day.
Oh my God. Hold on. I'm having an Andelicious moment, everybody. Oh my gosh. Folks, when you can be tapped into your purpose, like Ivy is tapped into her joyful purpose, it is such a gift. And it comes with risk. It comes with uncertainty. It comes with a lot of other things. But because Ivy's purpose is so much stronger than all that fear, she can overcome it. And so that's why everybody talks about that North Star that we all need in our business, that thing that will get us out of bed no matter what. And the other reason I had the Andelicious moment was because this time you were a lean machine. You wanted to make sure that you could stay viable over a period of time and become profitable. So therefore, you had to put together some of your skill sets. And now, of course, as a company grows, everyone, you do want to start delegating. But
Yeah.
initially, you do have to wear a few hats, or
Mm.
tiaras, as I like to say. And I know it can be a little tough, but I want to take a moment, Ivy, to address our wonderful viewer, beloved King. This is a conversation for founders, beloved King. So if it's not a good fit for you, I invite you to move on. Right now, we're learning from Ivy's founder journey. And then we're going to learn about how the Incubator Nest Hub serves all sorts of ecosystems, but primarily the entrepreneurship and innovation ecosystems in Africa.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, what happens when you're growing businesses and helping founders grow, it is the investment in the area. And it really has incredible, I mean, we've seen, Ivy, right, hundreds of times how innovation and entrepreneurship can lift a community up. It can lift a village, a community, a city, a state, and a country, right?
Right.
Yeah. So you said, and I love the story about how you, in the middle of COVID, that you wanted to dive into creating this incubator for folks. What was the biggest challenge when you went to start Ivy? Because, that idea is great, and clearly you landed, and it had a wonderful impact right away. And there was the silver lining of COVID. People were available to start thinking about something that they really wanted to do. They weren't overwhelmed by business or their lives as much. What still gave you the courage to go ahead and launch after your experience?
I think what gave me courage is the fact that I've seen a lot of people struggle, and even myself struggle to start anything, start a project, start a business, invest in something, something that you're very passionate about. So what happens a lot is most of us will rather do what is so comfortable than what is uncomfortable. So I wanted to start something, and the incubator, the whole purpose was to ignite people to go extra mile and look in deep into their businesses, ideas, look deep into their passion and turn it around to profit. So that was my really, really fast thing that really, really was burning inside my heart. The second thing was in Africa and in Kenya, we usually start the same businesses. If it's a shop, we'll start a shop. If it's selling tomatoes, we'll all sell tomatoes. But I wanted to start, changing mindsets of people, asking them, this tomato, can we not make tomato paste out of it? If you are selling food, can we not make an app that you can supply food with? Do we have to just do the same thing we've been doing over and over? Why can't we use technology to actually recreate businesses? We have so many wonderful ideas in Africa, but how do we tap in technology? How do we look around innovation? How do you become different? Yes, we are all doing the same thing, but how do we become different? So yes, that is what was burning in my heart, to actually talk to entrepreneurs and ask them, how else can we do this idea differently? How can you move from where you are at and start, instead of just doing business plan and finding someone to write a whole business plan of 10 pages? Then when you start, you're saying you don't have money. No, let's start from where you are at. Whether in your house, whether you're making yogurt in your house, let's start there. Then let's grow this business. So for me, it was looking at mindset changing and also growth and looking at innovation also.
Oh my gosh. So you had to do something that we all have to do as founders, right? You had to prove that folks wanted to be helped, right?
Yes.
When you put it out there, you had to sort of walk your talk, because that's what you're talking about in helping other founders do, which is prove their value proposition and prove that folks wanted what they were selling and that they
Yeah.
could have repeat business. So how
Yeah.
did you recruit founders? How did you get the word out to everybody? Did you already have some great community connections?
So I never had any community, any community anywhere. So first I started by, I met a very wonderful lady. She's a very good friend of mine. She's called Irene, very good with social media. I told Irene, listen, I want to do this. This is how I want to do it. Let's do it. Irene made this very nice website for me. What I'm still using, actually, we're changing it in 2022 now. Made very nice Facebook pages, everything, and said, you know what, we're going to do the first webinar. I said, how are we going to do that? They said, you know what, they Zoom. I said, okay, tell me how I do it. She showed me everything that I needed to do. So we did our first webinar, and she was the one who was running everything behind me. So we advertised it, and people signed up. The first webinar, we had 30 people. I actually saw the whole lineup, and I kept on asking Irene, are you sure all these people are actually coming here? She said, yes. Ivy. I said, imagine, no. So we had to all go back and look at PowerPoints and work on PowerPoints. And I did the first presentation. And the ideas and the igniting and the feedback we had was so impressive. I was like, what? And that's how we began doing a lot of talks. In 2020 and part of 2021, we did a lot of free talks online. We were everywhere having discussions about, business. And out of that, of course, we'll have one or two clients signing up and others becoming a pipeline. So that's how we started. Online, social media was our best bet of starting our business. And it was such a wonderful feel. And that is how we've managed to grow over time.
I have the biggest smile on my face. In fact, my cheeks are starting to hurt from that, because it's just such a great story. It really, people were craving what you wanted, and you were tapping into that feeling that they were having. Yeah. And so how did you start to pull other things together, i.e. your business model? Did you charge for these Zoom webinars, conversations, or was that your tip of your funnel, and then you were bringing them in to then enroll in programs? How did that work?
So we started with the free webinars, and those were many of them. But we have programs on the side where we'll feed after the free webinar, what is next. And so the next program was actually to have either a 3-week program, a 3-week training, or a 6 weeks program of a 1-year program, where it's a business development program. Our incubator is quite different because I'm very passionate about people starting. So I realized I don't want to do a lot of training. I want to do more of business development, an incubator that does business development, so that at the end of the day, we can measure how many businesses have started, how many businesses have moved from one point to another, how many businesses have been registered even with the government. So we needed to track it differently. So for 3 weeks, I will work with someone and work with them from how to start a business, how to find the right customers, how to define, how to register your business. And we'll go to the government portals and I'll show them this is where you register it, how to find your business model. And we'll keep on going and going until they're able to start. So we'll actually be hand holding all of them. And interesting enough, other people came in. We had 2 different coaches who are my friends, and they joined in, and we could help all these people build their businesses and models. So my model was actually being created as we are walking through. And it's actually until 2021 that we have the actual model of how we want to move in 2022 as the next phase. So we tested different model. We had a lot of issues of finding the right model, but people were paying. So actually, I remember one of the person who's been running an incubator for the longest in Kenya kept on asking me, people are actually paying? I said, yes. I don't have anyone that I work with without paying. And I don't have a donor because incubators are donor funded. I said, I don't have a donor, but I am sustainable right now and people are paying and I'm able to pay my bills. And so he was so shocked when I say that. But for me was, you know what? I had value. I was working with these people. I literally never looked for funding because I wanted to be very sure that what I'm doing is the right thing and I'm offering value to even the investors that will come into the incubator. So for me, it was very, very passionate. I was very passionate about that. So now, interesting enough, as we were walking through, we realized our business model fits women. So in 2022, we are moving to women because, interesting enough, out of 40 entrepreneurs we've worked with, women have been the best bet. They work from end to end. We had issues with men. Men are not very patient about working on their business model. But women are very interesting because I'm a woman also. I want someone to work with me, to validate my idea, to validate me also, not just my idea, myself. All these mental issues, where you're going through, where you don't know what to say. At night, you're thinking where these numbers are coming from. This woman entrepreneur wants to work with them and work out these numbers. She wants me to go to a pitch place and listen to how she's pitching and help her out. So we realize our model fits a lot of women because women like being handheld. Women
Right.
like being able to call you at any time and say, you know what, today I was somewhere, I pitched, and I'm not sure what I said. And I'll say, you know what, I'm calling you right now. Andy, I'm calling you. What happened? And we will go through everything. Say, no, do
Oh,
this, do this. You know, when you walk in the next time, this is what you need to say. This is what your proposition looks like. This is what your values are. This is the cost. Be bold to say, this is what I am costing, you know, because women
yes.
have an issue a lot saying how much they want to cost their product. So I started looking at what I was going through and reflecting it back to the women entrepreneurs. And we had the biggest success on the women. One of the wonderful ladies, I give an example, is a woman that owns Drop Access. It's in the village. I mean, she's in the village and she has created this vaccine fridge that actually can serve a solar vaccine fridge. And she created it from scratch that can serve rural Africa where people don't get vaccines, children don't get vaccines. So we incubated her all through. And right now, she's getting funding from many government organizations. She was not able to be bold even to talk. We actually went through how to actually pitch, how to, you know, how your face needs to look like, you know, be bold and just stand and say, you know what, because she was in a male dominated, you know,
Oh,
entrepreneur
sure.
program. So I said, you know what, you have to stand. And we had to get other women, you know, image consultants to work with her and just get her to be bold enough to talk and talk about her business and move and move. And she is doing fantastically well. So our model started changing slowly, and we realized we really want to work with women. And so in 2022, our incubator will run all all women program, all so much focused on innovation, because we want to have so many women get back to fintech, so many women get back to innovation, so many women build so many things. We want women to be able to run drones, to run, you know, piloting everything. We want African women to be able to do all those things that people don't see, people think that they cannot do. Engineers in Kenya, we don't have many engineers in
Right.
Kenya. And so we want to build more people in business that they can actually be more engineers. And so we want to be able to push them to the front and say, you can do this. You can create a business out of this. You can go and pitch this business and you will get money. It's not rocket science.
I know.
Innovation is not rocket science.
And I just have to do another. I'm just having a great moment right here. And this is the founder journey woohoo moment. There's so much to take away from what Ivy just shared about that founder experience, which is this is one of the biggest challenges that founders face, which is the feeling of being isolated and making mistakes. Fortunately, women are a little more at ease in asking for direction and willing to take advice and like having that discussion. I can tell you right now, founders, having someone to talk about your business with will percolate ideas and let them bubble up in your brain. I often, with one of my businesses, would just call someone and just said, just listen. And I would go, and yep. Okay, I figured it out. Thank you. You know, they were probably just doing their nails, sipping coffee, full, you know, doing something. The other thing that I wanted folks to take in is that you know, March 2020, you launched, you started working with folks, and you started to see what did you get for feedback? What looked like the sweet spot? Who was showing up? And this is the same thing when you're identifying customers, right, Ivy? It's when you're getting deeper into understanding, you then shift your business model to where the revenue stream is and where your customers are, those who really want what you're selling. So that example that you just gave, so good. And congratulations to this woman who's getting into the trenches in Africa and getting the sponsors and the donors and the government support to get the vaccine out to folks. Oh, and that's a whole nother topic. We know about the hoarding of vaccines and things like that. Our good friend Edith, goddess that she is, has shared a lot about that on social media. But, you know, also, I know a lot of us would love to just bottle your passion. You clearly love talking about this. And folks, if you're a founder and you have a hard time being bold, practice, get some media preparedness, or
Yeah.
find someone in the organization who's much more comfortable but equally passionate, or
Yeah.
able to convey that passion. Because as Ivy just showed us, it's so important
Yeah.
that you're able to light up the room with your passion for your
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
thank you for that. So now you're also, and I love the fact that you're not doing, as you said, the typical accelerator business model, which is, as you call it, donors, and here in the US, it's sponsors to help fund these very important efforts.
Yeah.
So your cohort members
Mhm.
are the ones who are paying for whether it's a 3 week, 6 week, 1 year program.
Yeah. So yes, and the reason was very clear. I wanted people to own the process. When you get something for free, you don't own it. Once you pay for it, you own the process. I wanted ownership and sustainability. I'm very big about creation of sustainable businesses. I love businesses that can outdo or outlast your generation. So I'm not building incubator for now. I'm building incubator for my children and my children and my children so they can take it further and further. And so I'm very passionate about people building sustainable businesses. And that's why I said, you know what? People are going to pay. Yes, I'm going to find a donor that will pay once in a while, but people have to put their money where their idea is. It's very important because we are in a culture where we have managed to get and get and get.
Right.
But doesn't work because once you get, I've worked in a lot of projects, business projects. Once you get the donor funds, what happens is if the donor withdraws, that business falls. And what happens if the business falls, the community suffers because you're not running a business for yourself. You're running a business for a community. And in Africa, community is large. Community is if I've hired 4 people, it means those 4 people have other 4 people and other 4 people. It's a chain of reaction. Imagine failing. What happens is you affect a whole system and people just get down and poverty comes in. So I'm very big about people building sustainable businesses. And so I want people to own. And I'm very flexible. Even when it started, we're very flexible. If a woman is able to pay a certain amount and keep on paying, that is fine. I have no
Yes.
problem, but they have committed and they're willing to work on their idea. And hence, they will own it and run with it. So even when they get to a point of going to getting funding, either grants or either VC funds, they have already owned the process and they understand their business. And they know that, you know what, I'm here for the long while. I'm not going to wake up because this is not my money and walk out. I'm
Right.
going to work, sweat, and everything.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, because that's the first thing you have to make in your business is an
Mm.
investment in the business.
Yeah.
It can be blood, sweat, and tears, equity, but you
Always.
also have to be willing to pay, invest,
Yeah.
return on investment from your dollar into your business. It
Yeah.
has to happen. Just like
Yeah.
when you birth a baby, you got to feed it. And so with the business, that has to happen. But what I really love that you've done, Ivy, is you created a culture
Mm.
and a support system
Yeah.
that indoctrinates everybody with the here we are. We're going to be profitable. We're going to be sustainable. We're going to lift each other up. And we are investing in our businesses and we're going to make the sacrifices and do the hard work to
Yeah.
make this happen because
Yeah.
we can, because we are bold and we
Yeah.
are embracing the idea that we can have a sustainable, profitable business.
Yeah.
And then by having seriously, I'd say it's the number one ingredient for founders that they really need for success. And that is a supportive founder group.
Mm.
Because relying on family and friends that aren't entrepreneurs are never going to get you anywhere. What are your thoughts on that, Ivy?
Now, interesting enough, no. I always tell you, even your husband, partner, will never understand your entrepreneurial journey, and never at all. And especially women, they're juggling with children, they're juggling with partners, they're juggling with family. They will never understand that journey. You have to find support system. And so for me and the incubator, we've created support system where the women can come in and say, hey, listen, yesterday I had my child here and I had so much work and I nearly lost it. And we say, hey, come on, a big hug. You can do this, let's work it out. Let's move to the next thing and we can move on. Or, that's exactly what you want to create. And it's very important to have that support system. Entrepreneurship is such a lonely journey. Only the person that has the passion and the dream understands the dream. No one else understands your dream. Not your partner, not your children, not your parents, no one. You're the only one who is the dream carrier. So you have to birth that dream by yourself. It's like a pregnancy. You have to carry it by yourself and you have to go through the whole process by yourself. But imagine getting other people around you. That is going to be important. So you having a community of entrepreneurs that you're working with and you're talking to and you're venting to, that's very important, especially for your mental health.
Right.
Because mental health is the worst thing that actually affects many entrepreneurs. They fail at their mind. And once you fail in your mind, you fail in your business. So imagine a place where you go and you say, no, you can do this. That's a very small challenge. Maybe try AB, try this, and you try and it works. Your mental ability keeps on growing and you keep on being bold and you keep on building and you keep on going on with your dream. Community is so, so, so important.
Whew. Entrepreneurship Church here, everybody. 100%. I loved everything that you said. The community aspect, but the mental health is so important because, folks, you're trying to do things where there's no evidence of your success. In fact, you're going to constantly get people who are naysayers that are going to tell you no way, or we don't want that, or people who say they're going to do something, they don't do it. It's really hard, but really take to heart what Ivy said about it is a muscle that you are building over time. You are going to get better and better at your mindset. However, it really is also important that you surround yourself with the cheerleaders and the believers, right, Ivy?
Absolutely.
Oh
Absolutely.
my gosh.
Very important, very important. And I learned it. I mean, when we began the incubator, there was a new group that started of entrepreneurs by a very, a man who's been a coach around in Kenya. It's called SME Kenya. And so I joined. I mean, we were all new in that group. And that group up to date has been a very big strength for me. It's a group of founders who started in the midst of COVID.
Yeah.
And we have grown, all of us. And we just meet every Thursday bi-weekly. And we just talk about anything and everything that is affecting us. And you get energy and realize, you know what? There's nothing hard. There's actually a solution. There's nothing that has no solution. And also you're able to vent and you feel more relaxed. Because if you're very stressed as an entrepreneur, you won't be able to build. Creativity comes from a place of relaxation, not a place of stress. You cannot build your dream organization or company with stress. Never. Your creative fluids will never flow.
Well, not only that, you start taking things personally instead of being the observer. So your business is out here and you're trying to do what's best for your business. But if you're in the middle going, oh my God, I'm such a loser, you can't. It reminds me of a guest I had on a few weeks ago who talked about, here's a mom of 5 children. Wow. And the marriage imploded. The husband left, the father left, and COVID hit. And there she was, her business was retail at the malls, pop-up kiosk, and she was sitting there. And so basically as she said, she was having a boo-hoo party. And so her twin sister comes over and she said, and she was no good. She sat there and cried with me. And so she realized that she had to, again, put those emotions aside, think about the 5 children she needed to feed and care for, and get her mind set. So it's almost like a luxury sometimes, folks, to go into the pity party moment, set the timer, have that experience, and then come back to the strong mental acumen. And something you said a little earlier too, which I just love, you are the dream carrier of your business. Nobody else can do this but you. That was beautiful, Ivy. Thank you so much for that. So how do you, now that we know how you bring founders in and now how what 2022 is looking for you, how do you bring in mentors? Because the mentorship matters, folks. And there
Yeah.
are people out there, they don't have to be entrepreneurs. They can be experts in their field. Their lived experience can help.
Yeah.
How do you bring on mentors? And is that part of your program?
Yes, so interesting you've said that because it was never part of our program. But in 2022 is going to be part of our program. But indirectly, without being, we've actually been having mentors. So I pulled down a couple of friends of mine I've met all over, in my work experience. And I'll call them if someone I knew that does very good public speaking. I say, you know what, I have a couple of women, help me out. And they will come and just do their thing. And I'm like, oh, thank you so much. And that keeps on moving.
Yeah.
But now in 2022, we're going to have a pool of mentors that will work with the industry mentors that are willing to give their time and can be international, can be locally, give their time to just mentor other entrepreneurs because stories are very important. Sometimes we build and we never say our story of failure, our story of struggle. So I want mentors to give their stories so that people can say, hey, you actually went through this and this is where you are, then I can do it. So for me, it's going to be part of storytelling. Mentorship is going to, for me, be a part of storytelling, people telling their stories and entrepreneurs listening and learning from stories. I love stories. I'm very mental. So I love stories. I love stories. So I love listening. And most of the time, I'll sit and listen to people's stories and just hear what you actually went through that and you didn't say. So I want people to document those things. I want people to talk about it that I had 5 failed businesses. I had a point was so broke and it's fine.
And
And you
there's no shame in that, folks,
there's no
at
shame. Yeah,
all.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh, because it just continues to build you to what you're going to
yeah,
do next. And what I
definitely.
appreciate about mentorship too is a lot of times when you can bring someone in with different eyes on your business, it doesn't mean you have to take what they're saying, but sometimes, especially if they are an operations genius or logistics or sales or accounting, financial model building, sometimes they're going to come in and open a whole new level of what for you of understanding and knowledge for you and your business. And so
Can I
I'm a
say
huge
something about that, Andy?
pardon me.
Can I say something about that?
Yes, please.
So I learned the hard way. I realized I was mentoring and working with entrepreneurs and I had no one to work with. So this year, 2021, I surrounded myself with people to work in. I had a financial person. I hated finance. I mean, I was just looking at money and thinking, where is this money going and coming and how is it coming and going? I got a wonderful lady that has been working with me in terms of finance. I got a coach, a business coach, a nice guy is called Michelle, working with me and would ask me very hard questions. And I'm thinking, this is what I need, you know? And he's been working with me. And I got one lady, very wonderful lady, that really, really bubbles with idea, just looks at things differently. I've begun appreciating as an entrepreneur working, also myself being mentored by other people. So I have a tribe behind me that questions me. And one of the things also we are doing in 2022 is getting also advisors, a board of advisors to sit and question those things and see things and work with people. I want to be questions and ask, Ivy, how are you building this? Because if you're an entrepreneur that is never questioned, you will never grow. Because remember, you are the boss.
you know,
So imagine you can do whatever you want to do. But hey,
but also
you
if you've
need,
never, yeah, and if you've never been in the industry you've been in,
yeah,
okay, sometimes we have really good founder market fit. I never did with any of my businesses.
yeah,
A lot of times you're having to learn from that business, and it's great to find somebody who has already had a ton of
absolutely.
experience in the business. I'm just going to bring up this wonderful graphic again, where it just really states what the Incubator Nest Hub is about, which is we are in the business of putting you in business.
Yes,
And it exists for the sole purpose of supporting and helping develop companies by helping them survive and scale up during the startup period, by connecting them to the mentorship, knowledge, resources, and the networks they need to succeed. It's like hatching an egg, an incubator. I love that, Ivy. And that's right from your website. And that's your clear message to everybody who comes on board. I love what you're doing. And I love how you are changing lives every single day. Let's talk about a couple more questions here. I want to pull some goodies out of you. Please share why this role has been so important to you. You're helping so many people. You're certainly working on yourself and making sure you're the best CEO and founder possible for this endeavor so that it has success and it has the impact that you want. But why else is this role really important to you and for you?
Yeah. I think for me, it's important because one, I don't want to see people failing. And I mean, in Africa, in Kenya, we don't have a lot of business schools. So people start businesses from hunches and everything. I want people to do the right thing the first time and fail as little as possible because I don't want them to keep on failing. Because every time you fail, like I failed in business and the loss was huge, huge. I mean,
No,
I
I understand.
you know. So I really don't want people to go through that thing. I want us to work together and find the solution. There's no business, even for me who is running incubator. I don't have an answer to your business, but I want us to co-create the solution together. Secondly, I want people to come out of poverty. To be very honest, the thing is, there's nothing as bad as when someone loses a job, you have all these family members that really, really go down with you. That for me is something that really, really makes me, cringe because I don't want anyone to be able to lose a job and they don't have anything to do. So I encourage even people who have businesses, who are working, start a business on the side and keep on running it because it's going to be very important for you to have something that's sustaining you in case of anything. And secondly, also, not just because of that, I want to be able to create a lot of passion from you. Create something that you love and make it happen. And let's be people that are, having more and more people that we are actually hiring. So for me, that's something very passionate. And so that's why even in COVID season, some of the trainings we did were for free because I was I couldn't sleep because I'm thinking, this is someone who does not have a job.
Yeah.
Their children are sleeping hungry. So what do we do? I also had a place where we went to train and we had friends that actually raised money to buy food for the people that I was training because they were going to go back with nothing. So I needed to make sure that, hey, I'm giving you this food and I'm going to give you a bit of money to start, but start something so that we are not where we are at tomorrow. Because if a woman has 4 children, means all of them are actually going to sleep hungry,
Yeah.
plus a few other relatives. So why not create jobs and get people out of the poverty that they are in? So very passionate about that.
Well, and I applaud you. Seriously, thank you so much. That is a huge impact. And I love this role does for you and how you're able to lift others up through this experience. And speaking of lifting up, how about funding? I mean, we love bootstrap companies. I mean, I'm a huge fan of bootstrap companies, but sometimes, especially if a company needs hard assets, right? They need to get a little money in. Do you have organizations that work with you or investors that are willing to invest in the companies that you're bringing on board? Is it too soon to say?
No, it's actually not too soon because this year we've been working on that model to see who we need to work with. So one of the things I'm a firm believer is collaboration. I believe that I don't have all the solutions. So I actively started looking for who to collaborate with, investors that are working with me, other people like the bridge to actually bring that kind of money. I mean, Prepare VC, you know them, and Ariel, I mean, you know all of them. And I got into that collaboration because I knew that this is where our founders, after we've incubated, they'll actually be able to go and get funding, also get support to get funding. Other people, of course, the government, we've worked a lot with some of the people in the government to actually feed all the people that we incubated to them to get funding. So for me, I'm a firm believer of working with other people. So we have been building an ecosystem of people that we need to work on. And we're building that ecosystem.
Yeah.
Right now, we're in a process of actually building a relationship with one organization that works with women who have come from prison and they need to get into business. And so we want to train them and work with them. And there's funding coming in. So for me, that has been the way we want to model. And also one of the companies here, one of the young men who really, really has been supporting us. It's called Youth Enterprise Engagement Society. And they've been giving funds to people that actually have been who want to start businesses. So collaboration have worked for us, apart from the people that are really, really paying for it. So that has been something that we're building up. But in 2022, we are building a very vibrant, a very vibrant community. I mean, and the bridge is one of the communities that really, really want to farm up and work with them to create a good ecosystem and innovations in Africa.
I'm telling you, it doesn't take much.
No.
To give someone a lift. It really doesn't. And, it's amazing the impact it can have, even a small investment. Ivy, as we wrap up here, please share with folks when you have felt inadequate as a leader, as a founder. I know we've got that Be Bold, and I'm just going to say right now, folks, Be Bold is going to be stitched on a pillow for sure. That's going to be one of the best stitch that out of pillows. I mean, it's so important, but it's one thing to say, be bold. What other advice can you give folks? So we talked a little bit about the mindset and how important it is, but what helps you shift out of fear, anxiety, inadequacy, and back into your strong queendom?
For me, what builds is being always focused. There's going to be a lot of distraction as a founder. There are days where you have no idea. I made a joke a few months ago. I said, at the end month, people who have employed, they're going to the bank to collect money. But entrepreneurs are actually looking for the money to pay people. So you're going to get there, where you get at the end of the month and you have no idea where money is going to come from. But focus. Keep on going, keep on going, keep on going. Another thing that I've learned also in business, run an honest business. Just be honest. If you can't do it, just be honest. You can't do it. If you need help, ask for help. That is very important. Thirdly, rest. 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 Take a rest. Don't work 24 hours. Take a rest. We need you as an entrepreneur more than anything, alive than dead.
Exactly. Oh, that's just brilliant advice. And I'm going to put this back up again here. How can the Startup Life Live show add wind to your sails, add wind to your efforts with the Incubator Nest Hub?
Yeah, I think for us will be a lot. I mean, looking at the ecosystem that you have, anyone who is interested in supporting women entrepreneurs in Africa, reach out. We have a lot of businesses that need to come up. We need to develop a lot of businesses in Africa and there's a lot of potential. And the good thing is investing in a woman is investing in a community, I always say. So let's work together. I mean, if you're interested, reach out. Let's work together and build these businesses. I mean, I'm a firm believer of collaboration. So you have a wonderful collaboration partner. I mean, very not selfish. I just want the interest of the entrepreneurs to be met. And so if you have the ability, you're an investor, you're a mentor, you're very passionate about African businesses, hey, reach out. I'll love to hear from you and work with you.
Oh, what a beautiful way to close out the show. Mwah! Pure deliciousness. Ivy, I just wish you were next door. I want to come work with you. Your energy is so wonderful.
Thank you.
You're so candid and so practical about this journey, as well as being uplifting. And so thank you for your time. Please give everybody a hug in your community for me and from me. I admire everything that you are all doing, and I'm so grateful for your time and coming on the show, especially late on a Friday night. What? And I just know this is going to be seen by so many people, and you're just going to have a profound impact just from this conversation alone, as well as everything you're doing every day. I'm going to pop you into the green room and wrap up the show and bring myself into the big frame here. Oh my gosh. I mean, really, there was just one soundbite after another from Ivy. I'm going to be definitely carving out the gems and sharing them wildly with everyone, because I know about you, but I feel very uplifted from the conversation and from everything that Ivy is doing with the Incubator Nest Hub. All the links are going to be in the show notes for you. So let me tell you who's coming up next. Oh my gosh. We are going to have a very uplifting show on the Startup Life Live show, another uplifting show, because on Tuesday, December 14th at 12 p.m. ET, we're chatting with Amy Giddon, the Chief Connection Officer and co-founder of the Daily Aloha app. Troubled by pervasive division and disconnection, Amy launched her startup, Daily Aloha, to increase empathy and address social well-being head on. And what can be more important right now when loneliness and anxiety are on the rise in well-being in the US here for sure, and empathy is on the decline? Please tune in and join us. And how do you know whenever I'm posting a new show? You scan this QR code or visit the bit.ly link, Startup Life Live, and get part of the Startup Life Live meetup group so that you receive an alert whenever I go live. All right. I'd love to close out the show with this wonderful reminder. We talked a lot about it today with Ivy, but please remember that you are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and wicked smarter, as we say here in Boston, than you think. And remember what Ivy says, it takes a village to raise a business. Reach out for some help, okay? In the meantime, enjoy your holidays, and I will see you on the 14th or on the replay. So happy you tuned in. Wishing you a delicious day everywhere you glow. Mwah. Thank you so much. See you next time.